Okay, we need a motion to go into executive session.
Excuse me, I'd like to have an opportunity to speak before you do that,
Sure.
if that's all right. Thank you.
Make it known who you are, please, so everyone, might be people that don't know who you are.
Sure. I'm James Pontillo, and I'm here to comment on a letter that I received. Now, everybody's probably aware, if you're not, there was an inspection that was done on my building on May 17th, and we had both the Mr. Mullen and Mr. Sinclair that was there with someone that you hired from the Clark Patterson, I believe it was, right? Yes. They came out there and did an inspection of the property. There was a couple things that were pointed out that needed to be addressed. So I talked with Gene about coming over here and getting a building permit to go ahead and get those things done, because one of them was a safety thing they had a concern. Gene had informed me, he says, well, why don't we hold off until we get this notice to see what they say before we start that. I said, that's fine. Well, I just got this from my attorney a couple of days ago. My attorney just got this from Earl over the holiday weekend. Now what's interesting is that it's dated June 6th. Okay? Then on June 24th, it looks like they were contacted by somebody to give an update and to be a little more aggressive in the second letter. So I don't know if you've seen these, but maybe if not, you might be bringing these out. You should probably look at this, because this one's actually, I thought the inspection went very well, by the way. There was really some positive comments that were made by Gene himself. They were pointed out by the inspector. They came out there that saw not just the integrity of the building, but saw all the positive things that we've done to the building that have never been addressed for probably 100 years. And so, and also the workmanship and the quality of workmanship that was done there. Now there's some things that are mentioned here that I'm going to get to in just a minute. Now the second letter, which was on the 24th, I haven't seen this one either until just a few days ago. And it's very aggressive, saying that, you know, we need to take action because Mr. Pontillo's not taking action. Well, Mr. Pontillo and his attorney were under the impression that somebody from here was going to notify us when he got this letter. Then I was going to take this letter and address it to my attorney and also address it to my engineer firm that we have hired to look at this. Because I thought, well, I'm going to get the cart before the horse. You're going to do it. Let you get your information. We'll then give it to him. Let them look at it, address the issues, and let's see if we can come to some understanding. But I got the impression that that's not what's getting done here. It seems like we're getting the cart before the horse because it seems like there's now another attack. Okay, that we're not addressing the issues and actually calling me in to sit down and discuss some of these things that they found. Am I in agreement with it or disagreement with it? So it can be addressed, and then see if we're going to address it. We've been waiting to do something. We've been holding off on the roof. We've been holding off on a lot of things because we want to know, can we move forward and do it successfully and do it positively. The second letter, though, opened my eyes to something. And it's unfortunately that someone's not here today. I understand why. Because I owe him an apology. Because I was thinking I was really being this board. And you know what? I started to realize it's not the board's fault. Who benefited from that? Everybody knows about the fence. Pretty much everybody in Genesee County knows about the fence. There's people outside of Genesee County who knows about the fence. Did this board benefit from that? Absolutely not. I know I didn't. It cost me more in litigation than it did for the fence. But someone did benefit. Somebody that's been driving the bus since day one. Because somebody benefits from litigation. Somebody benefits from having turmoil and arguments and everything else. And that person's sitting right here, Mr. Earl. He benefited in the sum of what, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 because of this fence? I want to let you guys know something. And I would like to have a meeting with the town. I'll bring my attorney in, and he will tell exactly what happened. Mr. Earl lied to him. And he went on record and said that he lied to him, right on the news. He also has not been very forward with all of you. Because my attorney told Mr. Earl exactly what the law was, how to go about it, and we actually tried to make a deal with him within the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, we were trying to get this matter resolved. But that doesn't benefit him. And then I got thinking, there's other things that have been going on in Stafford that have been taking years and years and years of his oversight to look over things. You got the fracking, you got the windmill. These are much bigger issues than me. And how much is this individual benefiting because people can't come together, work together, collaborate with one another? Because nobody's asked me to come in here and say, what's your goals here? What are you looking to do? I mean, I've lived in this community for 18 years and going up. I've invested in this community. And I don't plan on moving. Okay, and I want to continue to invest and look at more properties, more opportunities, but not at the expense of somebody that wants to have us all be against each other. Because I don't think any of us, Bennett, we all look foolish. And that's true. This town, this community looked very foolish about this fence. And I believe I was told, I don't know if it's true, but somebody on the zoning committee stepped down because of it. And that's too bad. Because we have a hard time just getting people to want to sit in these positions and to help out this community. So we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be trying to help each other to be a positive influence with the community. Okay? Not calling each other names. Because I remember the last executive meeting, who was pushing your buttons. I was out there listening. I know you guys have cameras. I don't care. But we had somebody in here that was feeding the fire, feeding the fire. And you asked him, you said, why, this is the first time we're doing this. Why is that? Well, this is the first time anybody's ever gone this far. Remember, he wanted to put me in jail over a fence. Not you. So I was pointing the finger at the wrong person. I apologize. Because now I know who the culprit is. I know who the individual is that's been manning this, driving this bus and keeping everybody all stressed out. And he's still doing it. And he's going to make, if he wants to go on litigation, if that's what this executive meeting is going to be about more litigation on this, and no one has actually even talked to me, or have asked me to come in and say, what are you doing, how are you going to respond to this? I just got this 3 days ago. Then you know what? He better be straightforward with you, because you know what's going to cost? It's not going to cost 5 or 10 or 15. It's going to be more like $30,000. It's going to cost me a lot to go back and forth and fight this for what? And I already talked down with my attorney, and we already know the end result. Because here's what happens. When you start depriving somebody of their civil liberties, then you put yourself at risk as individuals and as a community. He's not at risk because he gets to say, I'm just doing what the town's told me to do. I'm just their attorney. So why hasn't he been willing to want to try to cooperate and make a deal with us? He did one time. When he started looking foolish and you got all upset, and you also made our judge look foolish too, because you weren't honest with our judge. Judge Pennepen, he made him look foolish because he told him how to rule on something, because that's his job. And my assistant attorney is trying to tell him, Your Honor, let me read the law to you, because you can't make that ruling right now. And here's why. Nope, we're going to make that ruling, and you all fined me. We went to Supreme Court, and they found out that fine was not you weren't supposed to fine me. But someone went ahead and followed the paperwork to go ahead, even after the judge in Supreme Court said no, dismissed it. I still got the fine. I still was charged. Then my bank charged me, and I was also charged. Now it's up to $3,000 that this town's supposed to pay me back. But he's got to convince that, you don't have to. Yes, you do. Because it got dismissed, and you should never even fine it. But someone went ahead and said, hey, go ahead and fine him anyways. And this has got to stop. So here's what I'm asking. I'd like to have a town meeting to get ourselves a new attorney that's going to be honest with us and is going to have our best interest at heart as a community. Because the only best interest he has is his pocketbook. Because he's the one that's smiling, he's the one that's going to the bank. There's no reason that fence should have cost us $25,000 in litigation fees. When we were trying to work a deal with him within the first 2 weeks. He came to us later and said, well, let's try to work out a deal. My attorney said, well, we tried that. Why do you think they will do it now? He said, oh, they'll do whatever I tell them to do. Isn't that what you said?
I don't believe that's what I said. But...
He'll go on record in saying that.
Okay. Well, let me ask this question.
Okay, so no more questions. No, because don't interrupt me, because you can, okay. If you want to stand up and say. So, if that's what this executive meeting is, I ask that you table it, give me an opportunity to respond to this, and why not invite me? I'm open for that. No one's even asked to go and look at that building. I'm not against that. I just don't like the way it's been gone, because I've been treated that I'm this bad person, and you know what? When you get called bad enough times, you get bullied enough, and get pushed around. He knows all about bullying. After a while, you just got to stand up for yourself, and you just got to say, this is enough. But right now, this needs to stop. It's not going to benefit. It's not going to benefit any of us. It really isn't. If we're going to go into litigations once again and pad your pocketbook, it's going to look bad for this community. So why haven't you made an opportunity? And that would be my question in the executive meeting. Have you approached Mr. Pontillo? Have you asked him to sit down and let's try to work this out with Mr. Sinclair or Mr. Mullen?
You've been told months ago what you have to do. You've
I
been
was
told that
told-
you have to, you've been
Excuse me,
told,
don't interrupt me.
well.
This is, I'm talking about, I don't care about the past, I don't care about the past, I'm talking about right now. Because everything was, the stop work order, everything was to say, stop, Jim, don't do anymore. We gotta bring somebody in, we're gonna do this investigation, everything else. When we get the results, then we're gonna address those results. But I haven't had a chance to address them. They have not called me. I got a notice for tall grass, twice. I don't know if Mr. Mullen made a mistake the second time he sent it.
It was kind of crossed in the mail. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I saw that. I figured that was probably the case. I said, I don't think
It
he,
crossed in the mail because it wasn't done when I thought it was.
well, 'cause I knew you leave at a
And
certain
then I
time.
didn't see it, and I come back in and I rewrote it, and oh.
That's what I told her. I said, he must not have seen us there. So anyways, but they are notifying me of other things. So this is serious. And this is not something, I don't want this to continue to go on and be a bad blood in this community. So why don't we have a table, have a meeting with the town, with you all, and let's just get it resolved and move forward.
The board said is that to meet with the code officer, and the code officer will tell him what has to be done, which is the same thing that the code officer's been telling him for months and months and months. He has to get a design professional that has to go in there and draw up stamp plans to show what he has to do. And once he brings in those stamp plans, then he gets a permit. Okay, once he gets a permit, then when they know what the plans are, the code enforcement officer can then inspect. As he moves along and does different stages, they can inspect it. Right now, he has gone in there without a permit and done many things without a permit. And he knows he had to have a permit.
So right now, though, it looks like we're starting from scratch.
I think what
With
the
the
town
permit.
board is saying is that they're giving him an opportunity to, to come into compliance. They're giving him one more opportunity, if you will, to come into compliance.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
Well, I categorically deny with his representation is that I run up, that I am out there to run up my fees. I categorically deny that. As a matter of fact, I am a person that does not do that. If anything, I'm very lenient on my fees. So the fees that were run up were caused by actions and reactions to what Mr. Pontillo did and did not do according to the law.